My name is Rajeshri Mandavgane and my Unity ID is RSMANDAO. So this is the screencast for the fourth homework, that is Advanced Docker. For this, I've created a droplet, and in that, this is the Docker file that I've created. So I'm going to create an image using this Docker file, and when I spin up containers using that image, they will already have SOCAT installed in them. Now let's create an image. So this may take some time. As you can see, this image has been created. Now I'm going to create the first container using this image. The container has been created. So now in this container, I have to run a command that will output something to a text file. So I've just created a file socat version sh. So basically it just runs a command to obtain the socat version, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a command that will output the contents of this file to a file named out.txt. So this is how it goes. And I have hence created the output file, and it contains the output of the command I ran. So now for the second part, that is using socat to map file access to read file container and expose over port 9001. So for that I'll be using this command. So it will start listening for any incoming TCP connections on port 9001 of this container, and for all the connections that it accepts, it will invoke a new shell and run this command, basically cat out.txt. So it is making the contents of the file out.txt available for the linked container, which will be later trying to access or rather read this output file, which I'll show in the later part of the screencast. Now, moving on to the part of creating a linked container that can access file over network. So this is the command I'm using for creating the linked container, and this is the name that I've given to that link. Yeah. So now basically we can use curl in order to get that access, get that file. So I'm going to install curl on this container. Yeah. Now that curl is installed, I'm going to use the curl command to access data from that container. And yeah, so as you can see, the output file that I had made available can now be retrieved from this linked container. So this finishes all the requirements in the file IO part. This is the second part of the homework, that is ambassador pattern. For this, we'll be needing 4 Docker containers in total, and the ambassador, like the Redis server side, should be on a different host, and the client part should be on the different host. So this is the droplet on which I'll be running the server, and this is the droplet on which I'll be running the client. And we have to use Docker Compose in order to configure the containers. So I've already created a Docker Compose YAML file. This is how it looks for the Redis Ambassador server. Now I'll be using Docker Compose up in order to run the containers. So this might take some time. So as you can see, the Redis Ambassador server has started running. Now for the host containing the Ambassador client side, this is what the YAML file will look like. Now over here I'll have to enter the IP address of the host on which my ambassador server is running. So I'm going to use Docker Compose up in order to start the ambassador client. So it's been created. So as you can see, by doing Docker PS, you can see that this Redis ambassador client container has been created. And now we are going to create the Redis client container. I'll do that using this command. Okay, so now on one host, the Redis ambassador server is listening, and on the other, the client is present. So let me perform some set get operations. Set my key as DevOps. So the key has been set. That's why I can see this OK as a result. And when I perform get my key, I got the value of the key that I had set initially. So this completes the ambassador pattern part of the homework. So this is the screencast for the third part, that is Docker deploy part of the homework 4. So for that, I've created a droplet, and on that droplet, I've installed Docker and also Git. So this is the directory structure that I've created on the droplet. Initially, there's this directory deploy, and in that there are these 4 directories. Now app is the directory which is basically the cloned repo, and the link of this repo has been given in the readme. So first of all, I'll start a private registry, and I'll be using this command in order to start that. So as you can see, the registry is being started on localhost 5000. Now this may take some time. Now let's take a look at the contents of the Docker file. So this is what it looks like. So okay. Now let's take a look at the post receive hook that I've created for the blue slice first. So basically what we're expected to do is a commit will build a new Docker image. So this command will handle that, building the new Docker image part. After that, push to local registry. So this command will do the push to the local registry that I just started. Deploy the Dockerized simple Node.js app to blue or green slice. This command will handle that. Now in the post receive hook for the blue slice, this is the command that will deploy that app to the blue slice. And hook commands to pull from registry, stop and restart containers. Now this is the command for pulling and stopping and restarting the containers. Now let's take a look at the post receive hook that I've created for the green slice as well. So initially over here I'm setting the git work tree just as I had done for the blue slice also. And these are the commands for building new Docker image, then push it into the local registry, and deploying the apps to the green slice. Now we need to do the git remote add command just as we had done in the workshop. So that part is done. So now let's try pushing our app basically. Now once adding remote is done, let's try pushing to the blue slice. So first of all, let's check what changes I've done to the main.js file for that. So I've just added this message over here. So I'll be adding this changed file. Now that I have done git commit, I'll be pushing these changes. So this might take some time. So as you can see, the push was successful, and yeah, so this is the blue slice container has been created. Now let's take a look at the app which has been deployed on the browser. It will be on port 8080, and this is the blue slice. So now that part is done. Now let's make some changes in the file and deploy to the blue slice, a green slice as well. So these are the steps. Make a push to the green master. And this may take a while. So after this push was successful, let's see if the container has been created. And it has, green slice has been created. Now so we can go to the app and see if the creation was successful, deployment of the app was successful. So let's go to the server and check if the deployment of the app was successful, and it was. So this is the green slice, so the app deployment was successful. And let's see if the commit which we had made created a new Docker image by using Docker images. And well, yeah, for every commit this image has been created. So image had been created for a commit, push to local registry is taking place, and the app is being deployed on the blue slice and the green slice as well. And hook commands have been added as are shown in the earlier part of the presentation in the post receive hook for the green slice as well as the blue slice. So we come to an end of this part as well.